right, for a while now, I've been flying the Tiny Whoop. Everybody knows the Tiny Whoop. Great for indoor flight. Awesome stable flight. Not a lot of power. All right, so I wanted to upgrade this, so I got the Recon Heli frame with the upgraded 7mm motors. You know, this thing's got better performance, but it's still not the performance of, say, a 3-inch frame. So I was kind of looking for something in between these two, and I think I might have found that thing. That is the SPC Maker FPV Racing Quadcopter. Alright, so I just picked that up. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so this thing's the SPC Maker 90X, which I got from BuddyRC.com. They sell both DSM-2 and FR Sky versions of this. This thing comes with 8520 coreless brush motors, an F3 Evo brush flight controller, which does come stock with clean flight, but you could always switch that to Betaflight if you wanted. It's sold in 1S and 2S versions, and that doesn't just change the battery that it's shipped with. It actually has different motors and a different battery connector. The quad has a 90mm 3K carbon frame, and just based on how sturdy it feels, I think it's going to hold up a lot better than the plastic Whoop frames. The motors are a little bit bigger than the 7mm Whoop motors, and it's worth noting that I found replacements for these on GearBest for around $7. Let me tell you something I didn't like about this quad. When I first plugged mine in, the video was both upside down and in the wrong video format. Also, the buttons are not in a place you can really get to without a small screwdriver. It's also worth noting that the bands do not follow the standard A, B, E, F, G order. They instead follow this B, E, A, G, F order. Be careful with this, because if you're a few frequencies off, you may have clear video with the quad sitting right next to you, and then as soon as you take off and start flying away from yourself, the video will cut out. Alright, so what comes in the box? You get the quad, obviously, almost ready to fly. We just need to throw in some props and a battery. You get 2 rubber bands, which I believe are for holding on the battery. 2 extra pieces of heat shrink that hold the motors in place. This little piece of carbon fiber, which I have no idea what this is yet. 4 zip ties, 2 sets of props, and then 2 300 milliamp 25C 2S batteries, and then a little adapter for charging it. Alright, to bind this thing, you're going to need to hold down the bind button while plugging in your battery. You're going to hold that button down, and you're going to apply the power. You can then release the bind button, go to your transmitter, put it into bind mode, and the two should bind no problem. Alright, if you have a Spectrum transmitter, you're going to need to change some settings on your transmitter to get it to work right. So you're going to go into servo setup and travel. You're going to want to change those to 148. So, for instance, rudder here, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to wheel this up from 100 to 148. What that's going to do is it's going to make your transmitter pass the full range from 1,000 to 2,000 rather than, say, 1,200 to 1,800. Alright, you're also going to want to go in and reverse some of your outputs. So we're going to go to reverse. We're going to reverse the ailerons and the rudder. These last 2 steps are only necessary if, when you look at the receiver tab in the configurator, the inputs are reversed or the travel from stick left to stick right doesn't go from 1,000 to 2,000. This comes loaded with clean flight by default. Make sure you follow the clean flight motor orientation when you're putting your props on. It's opposite of the Tiny Whoop. The only changes in the configurator I'm going to make right now are to go into the modes tab, and I'm going to set an arm, angle, horizon, and air mode to buttons on my transmitter. As soon as I flew it, I realized there was a change I needed to make so this thing wasn't falling like a rock every time I cut the throttle. I turned off motor stop, and I reduced the min throttle to 1030, which I might drop even more. If min throttle is too high, you're going to have trouble landing the quad because it'll want to bounce all over the ground. Also, the quad will feel floaty and unresponsive when you're trying to drop altitude quickly. Alright, let's see how it flies.
The 90X is a blast to fly. At a cost that is significantly cheaper than the other two tiny whoops and easily double the performance, I think this quad provides insane bang for your buck. Buddy RC sells replacement parts at a very reasonable price as well, not to mention the aluminum case that it comes in makes for a great way to transport it safely. In the end, I think the 90X is exactly what I was looking for. It's a good middle ground between your underpowered tiny whoops and your 3-inch prop quads. It has all the muscle required for outdoor flying and it's great for backyards, but it might be a little too quick for indoors. I was flying the 2S version, but I'm interested in seeing how much more docile the 1S 90X is. Check out the next video where I compare the three quads back to back on the same track so that you can see the difference. I also show how I modified the configuration to make it fly even better. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe or let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.